Hello, we've had a great day here at Drum Channel and a great opportunity to not only get a lot of the secrets of the pros, check those out here on the website, but also some great tracks from how can you be 17 and get a Stanley Clarke gig? I mean, who could ever do that? Well, he's here today. What do you know? Mike Mitchell. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Kind of work backwards in your career for just a minute, yeah. How did that come to be at your age of 17 to get with Stanley? Was that your first kind of big breakthrough gig?
Kinda. I was on tour with a popular R&B singer by the name of Chrisette Michel, and she's like really killing jazz R&B singer from New York. And I was playing with her in maybe 10th grade, 10th, 11th grade, and yeah, I got this random call after I was leaving my jazz class at school.
You were in school at the time?
Yeah, I was leaving my jazz combo class.
High school?
Yeah. I went to this performing arts high school, Booker T. Washington in Dallas, where Erykah Badu, Nora Jones, Roy Hargrove, we all had the same teachers, and the same jazz teacher, and I was leaving his class, and I get a random call, like from my uncle who played organ in Clark Duke with Stanley and George, Bobby Sparks. He's ridiculous musician, and he called me. He's like, "Say, man, Stanley's going to call you," and I was like, "Stanley, what? Who? What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Stanley Clarke. He wants you to play with him," and I was like, "Dude, like I'm in class, like." Dude, bye. Like I just hung the phone up and was like, dude, whatever. And maybe 15 or 20 minutes later, I'm in my class and I get a call from a LA number saying, hey, this is so-and-so from Stanley Clarke's management, da-da-da-da-da. He wants you to join his band. He was really interested. And I was like, wow. All right, fine, yeah, that's cool.
So did you jump up in class at that moment and say, I just got a call from the...
No, it was so weird because I'm so skeptical about everything. I was like, for sure, something's gonna go wrong and it's gonna fall through. So I didn't say anything. I think I told my girlfriend and I told my mom.
So what happened then? You flew to LA?
Yeah, I went on tour with this other guy, Terrell Stafford, who's a jazz trumpet player. Was part of the Thelonious Monk Institute. And we went on a tour and we were in LA. And I told Stanley, like, hey, yeah, I'll be in LA, so maybe he wanted to get up and see when we could play because most of the cats he normally has are LA guys. But I was like, yeah, I'll be in LA actually for a week and you can maybe find some time. So I had to sneak out of my hotel room because I was like 16, 17. And we had chaperones, it was like a high school tour. And so I snuck out of my hotel room. I had my friends cover for me. My friend James and Joel, I was like, dude, I gotta go do this. Like, I'm gonna go play with Stanley Clarke at his crib. They were like, what? Like, no way. I was like, dude, don't tell anybody I'm gone. Like, if they need me, tell them I'm sleeping. And sure enough, one of my counselors tried to come check on us and they was like, where's Mike? And he's like, they had to create like a body of pillows in the bed and like cover it up to make it seem like it was a sleeping body under there. But that was hilarious. But yeah, I went over to his house and he wanted to like just play some swing, play some groove stuff. We didn't play any of his tunes. He just wanted to see essentially what my feel was, my musical intuition was, and he hit me. He was like, at the end, he was like, all right, cool, man. Where do you got to go back to? And I was like, I got to have this hotel room. And he took me back to my hotel, and it was really, really cool. As we're driving back, he was just like, yeah, man, this is going to be really cool. I'm down to play with you. You sound great.
Just said that in the car as you were driving back.
Very leisurely. And I was just like, I think I just got this.
And you're like,
whoa, this is kind of
am I here?
Yeah, really. Like, honestly, it was a really surreal moment. And it's been cool. We have a new record coming out in the summer. I'm really excited for that. So that'd be really cool.
So you mentioned some relatives who are musicians. A lot of music in your family, and how did that influence you?
A lot. On my father's side, he plays drums. His brother plays bass. My aunt sings and plays piano. Her son plays drums. My uncle's son plays drums. My mother sings. My mother's a ridiculous singer. very, very awesome singer. And her sisters sing and play organ, and her son plays drums also. My grandmother sings, and you know, being raised in church, a lot of people gravitate to something musical, either singing in a choir or playing an instrument. And because my grandfathers are on both sides, are a pastor and a bishop, I was always around music a lot, you know. So at an early age, I found a small drum set in my, like, it was honestly like a coincidence. I was just like beating on things, like destroying things in my house. And
small age, you're talking about like 2.
As a baby, yeah, that was 2. Yeah, I was just not right now, but I was destroying things, just like I want to do something with beating something. And my grandma was like, get him a drum set. And she got me a kit, and like, you know, because there was always music in my house, I think there might have been like a Frankie Beverly and Mays record playing. And I just remember like, it's like finding some type of beat, you know, some type of beat on this baby kit. And I remember when I found the beat, I like lost control and just started beating the mess out of this toy drum set. And so at that point, they, you know, after like a week or so, they were like, maybe we should get him a real drum set that's, you know, just a little bit more expensive, but not something serious. And I kept playing and I kept playing. And I just grew up as a baby practicing drums, and I would watch cartoons at the same time. Like, that was
learn other instruments also?
Yeah, I recently started playing guitar and piano and bass. Just from, like, after I started recording music with my friends, we've all kind of adapted to other instruments. You know, like, you know, the guys that play guitar or keyboards in the band may play bass or drums on the track just because we're in a studio, like, hey, let's try this. So how
do you think that influenced the way that you play? We've had several shows and some great roundtables here on Drum Channel about drummers who play other instruments. Not from the standpoint so much of them actually playing it like in a home recording studio type circumstance, but their knowledge of rhythm and harmony and playing other instruments, especially if it was bass or guitar, how that influenced or changed maybe your thought process on some of the things you did on the drum set.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and luckily, the people that are teaching me to play these instruments are like my best friends, you know. It's been a really interesting road to just experiment with, like, when you play other instruments, you kind of hear your original instrument from their perspective, you know. So like, there's tracks that I play bass on, and as a bass player, I understand, like, yeah, the bass drum should have some type of correlation with the bass line, you know, for a strong groove. Or as a guitar player that's playing chords, like, maybe the snare or hi-hat pattern is something that would ride on top of the chord structure of what the rhythmic pattern is for the guitar or keyboard. And through that, it makes me think about it when I'm on the drums and I'm listening back to music. Like, okay, I hear the bass line. Okay, I hear what the pattern is for the guitar. I hear different things like that. And because of that, it makes me more friendly to play something that's on top of what's already happening versus coming in with a completely different, even if it's awesome, but it's just a completely different pattern, different beat, and things may have to change because of that versus, you know, if there's like a certain vibe that's happening already, and you come in, you play on top of the vibe, you can continue to build on top of what's originally supposed to be composed.
Diversity of different genres, or actually almost generations, specifically of jazz or in general, going from bebop to rock to, I know we talked earlier and you have favorite drummers pretty much in all those categories, from an Elvin Jones to a Bonham to, what should young drummers, you know, what would you encourage them to listen to, or how important is it to just listen to a wide spectrum from A to Z? Because a lot of drummers get kind of pigeonholed, especially if they're doing covers on YouTube. They'll usually get stuck in a rut where they're just going to play something that is in their wheelhouse because they don't know how to do something else.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
To really to stretch out and create and try things, and even on the gigs at this, you know, at your career at this level, you know, stretching out and trying things, and sometimes they don't work.
Yeah.
But you're always experimenting.
Yeah. Well, for me, people that listen to a lot of music have a sense, they always seem to have a sense of sensitivity for every situation that they're in. So they tend to listen more carefully, or pay more attention to small detail because maybe they have to learn some really, really crazy jazz music that has a bunch of notes, and then they have to go do a country gig at the bar down the street. You're going to listen to those country songs with a certain like attentiveness because you're just always listening to different things, and so like you'll find yourself playing. For me personally, I found myself playing all the genres with a certain like sensitivity to just being in that situation and not taking advantage of like, oh, this is how I play, or I'm a rock drummer, or I'm a gospel drummer. But, you know, I can go into a jazz gig and like I may want to turn it up because I want to do a blast beat because I know how to play metal. Or I may go to a metal gig and the guitar, there's a quiet guitar solo and it's normally super bashing, but because you learn how to play jazz, you can add the sensitivity to create a really nice rock solo to go back into whatever. You know, it starts to be like a crossing of genres when different parts basically give the reaction of another genre. You know, the bridge may be a little softer, so you may want to play it more jazzy, or the hook on this jazz tune may be like some weird Beastie Boys beat that just has a crazy sax solo over it. But because you listen to the Beastie Boys, your groove is really, really deep. And so like that feeling of having that momentum doesn't go void because you didn't study groove, but even though you're still playing jazz. And, you know, there's so many different ways to play it. There's soft rock, there's hard jazz, there's CCM, there's gospel, there's neo-soul, there's hardcore rap. And if you listen to all of those things, you'll notice the similarities of just like part to part in the song, and you can choose how you want to play that because you have so many backgrounds to choose from, you know.
I love when you mentioned earlier too that jazz, talking about jazz, you would normally think of it as a beat, or you know, the jazz cymbal rhythm is obviously the one. But your influence of jazz wasn't as much about what you're playing; it was the improvisation.
It's a creativity-based thing. You know, it's just because you're in a country band and you're playing the same set every night doesn't mean you can't be creative in how you reinvent the parts, even if you don't change the part. You know, like I was telling you before, like when I was playing on the Willow Smith gig, she has these songs. It's more of a it's not rock, but it has rock elements, and it's not indie, but it has indie elements. It's not metal, it has metal, you know, it's not R&B. We do all those things. And so for me, I was learning this set and coming off of a wild fusion gig to play with a singer, it's polar opposite. And so for me to stay involved in what's going on, I found myself changing my setup, you know, to make the part harder to hit just because it's a different setup every night. So it's going to challenge you. You'll start doing different stickings. You'll learn how to play different things with different limbs. And that ends up just sharpening your musical intuition and your drumming intuition in general, because at one point you'll be able to play anything, any kind of way on any type of drum set, you know, with anyone.
So if she shows up the gig the next week and she has a left-handed drum set behind her.
That's happened. That happened.
No, you're kidding, really?
I swear to God, that happened. It's on my Instagram. I swear. It's literally, it was a big thing one day. We rehearsed, and actually this was the setup that I had for the tour. This was like, literally, this was the setup. And I get to the venue after, and it was funny, it was after I just released my album. I had to leave the show that I was having for my party to go like for the first day with Willow. And I get to the venue and all these drums are laid out and I'm tired, like dog tired, because I was just up all night and all this craziness. And I look at all these drums and I was like, yeah, just move everything here to this side. Put the hi-hat over here and put the other, they were like, wait, this is not rehearsals. And literally it was set up from, was it 12, 6, 14, 16, snare, hi-hat was over here, cymbals over here. I had another crash that was like almost on the floor on a stand. But it was interesting. It kept me interested in the music, and it was fun, you know, just a fun exercise for my drumming, you know.
Okay, we can't talk about this subject only. You know, the reason why we're in this setting and you're behind the drum set is because, you know, he's been playing drums and we have a lot of shows here on a lot of shows where we have solos where We're going to be adding the solos that you played to what we have, and the Secrets of the Pros also. But give us a little example of this, where you're changing from a right-handed kit, the versatility of being so open-handed, where you're going from right-handed to left-handed, just like you just talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Because you did it a little earlier, and I fell on the floor. It's really fun to see. And Aaron Spears was watching also, and he came in immediately after that and just said, "Stop."
Yeah, well, I would normally have another right, but I can just switch over here. But yeah, like just basic swing stuff. Not complete yet.
The sicker part is it would change its feet too, because we happen to have two remote hi-hats set up next to the different pedals too. So it can be like a straight ahead left-handed kit or a straight ahead right-handed kit. You don't have to get it to that level right away.
But circus.
But no, I think it's very musical. You got to do it in order to have the ability to improvise and do everything that you're hearing. That's why you're doing it. I think all comes from that. If we were to look at artists, you're so young, a future list of artists who would be on your bucket list that you would like to play with, who might they be? And might they be listening? Because this is your opportunity. You don't have to audition him now. He's already passed the test, right?
Man, the cats that I would love to play with Little Dragon. I would love to play with Radiohead.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because there's so many.
So many people.
Different genres and stuff.
Yeah. I would love to play with John McLaughlin. Really would love to play with John McLaughlin. Love to play with Flying Lotus. I would love to create a band with Bobby McFerrin, like a really, really Afrocentric, crazy jazz band with Bobby McFerrin. I would really love to do that.
A last question, because we're running short on time, but education in your background, how important is that for young students as far as formal education goes and or private lessons? What was your experience and what would you suggest?
I had a really interesting way of just the way I was brought up learning. I was blessed to be around teachers. My original drum teacher, he really encouraged just my personality. And even my jazz teacher at school, they in high school, and really encouraged my personality. And what they did was they saw my personality and where I was headed, and they basically gave me a formula of how to do that with people. Like as a child, I'm ADD, ADHD, so I want to play every single note. And so my teachers told me, play all of that, but play it like this. And then be able to go here and then go here and then go here with your dynamic. And so that basically created kind of my mindset of how I play. It's just I always have different patterns I'm thinking of, but the way I play it is because it may not be so loud and so abrasive. I can get away with it because it kind of fits whatever musical setting that I decide to apply that in, because of the dynamic range and the musical choices that people may or may not be into. But so far, I've luckily been cool enough to hang with people that really enjoy my perspective on drumming.
I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed having you here.
Thanks, man.
Here for the day.
Thank you.
And what a compliment when you walked in the door this morning and you said this is something you had been hoping you would be able to do since you were...
Yeah, since I was 12.
12 years old.
This is a testament to me for sure that anybody can do anything you want to do. I literally sat as a child, and I'm still a child. I'm a young man, but as a 12-year-old, 11-year-old kid watching Drum Channel shows with you had Tony Royster, Dennis Chambers, Bruner, Thomas, Pridgeon, Thomas Lang, Terry Bozier, like so many guys that, like Chad Wacker, just all these dudes that I look up to, and I was like, man, I want to do that. I'm gonna figure out a way somehow. I'm sure it's going to happen. I just need to just play and work on my music and stay focused, and I'm sure it'll come around somehow.
Well, you more than did it. This is your home. This is your home away from home.
Yeah, man, this is awesome.
And look forward to seeing you come back again. Well, certainly an honor for me and everybody here. Be sure and check out the solos that we have that Mike played for us here on Drum Channel, Secrets of the Pros that he has, and all the shows that we have here on Drum Channel, because the whole idea is for us to inspire and motivate you, and nobody does it as well as having guests like this phenomenal young drummer. Young drummer at the beginning of his career, Mike Mitchell. Thanks for joining us today, Mike.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's a thrill.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.